Okay, YouTube, we are live. We are back for Game Week 18 and it's unusual Thursday night deadline day stream, right? I mean, we're still, potentially a few hours away from the deadline, but it's the deadline day for Game Week 18 and unusual Thursday, as I said. I'm Aditya and I have Sankalp and Leong with me. We don't have Joe with us this week, so we are subbing in and doing the preview deadline mix stream. Hopefully, we'll cover everything that's needed for Game Week 18. Obviously, we've not got a lot of updates from all the managers. They're being very silent except for three or four press conferences. That did happen earlier today, and few interesting things did happen. Uh, One of them is that Norwich City appointed Nuno, and unfortunately, things they're going to get what it is called as the new manager bounce. I think now. So what do you say, guys? What do you think of that? What do you think of that appointment? I'll start with that.
Who did he appoint again? I didn't hear it. Uh,
I said that Nottingham Forest
Nottingham
have
Forest. No,
appointed.
you mentioned Norwich City.
I said Norwich City. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I got confused with
Okay.
names. Apologies. Yeah, I mean we need to be a bit funny, right? Obviously, we are
Yeah.
going to have so many deadlines over the next few, I
Mm,
think days. I mean, three game weeks in a week or so.
mhm.
So it's going to be fascinating. So what do you guys think of Nuno back in the prem? Obviously, in place of Cooper at Forest.
I actually posted something regarding this earlier, I think yesterday, because there have been a lot of Forest fans that are quite unhappy with the Cooper sacking. Because I think there's a lot going on behind the scene, as I think the Athletic reported it as well, that there's a lot of going on between the owner and also Cooper since last season when they got them promoted and start signing players, in a ton that's not really the players that Cooper wanted, but he actually hang on to it because he actually loved the club a lot. So he managed to keep them in the Premier League, and he thought maybe this season will be different. But then again, the owners start doing his things again, and then they start reaching a breaking point. So there's no turning back, and which is why after all this sort of a run of bad results, he has to be sacked. Uh, I'm not sure because Nuno, if you look at his style of play, is I think is totally opposite as what Cooper is doing right now. I'm not sure if it really suits the player that Forest has right now because they have a lot of attacking options rather than the defensive players that Nuno needs it to work. So we'll have to see. But then there'll definitely be a new manager bounce for this game. So I expect them to maybe scrap a win against Bournemouth at home.
Yes, and Shankar, your thoughts?
Uh, I think it will be interesting because last I saw Forest was doing a 3-4-3 kind of a formation already, and that's what Nuno likes, right? Last year we were on a Nico Williams trend at some point of time, so you never know, something like that can come up again because I think Nuno and his wing backs do have a good story for FPL, so it's something to look at and see if something good comes up, especially from Nottingham Forest. So far, they have not been great, and I think this sack was coming for some time. Right? It's There is a new manager bounce theory that we generally play around with, so you never know, something comes out of it. I think we spoke about Elanga a few weeks back. That there are a few attackers that I like in the 5 million price packet, and if they do pick up a run, we'll be able to take a few. I think one or two assets from this team who are fairly underpriced now.
Yeah, I think a lot of managers are concerned about whether Turner keeps his place. So Nuno so far he haven't mentioned about anything about the goalkeeper selection, so we won't really know about it. Yeah, but I think Odysseus played in the Portuguese league, and Nuno loved his Portuguese players. So yeah, so probably he'll get the nod ahead of Turner. So we don't know about that.
We'll see. Obviously, it's going to be an exciting few weeks to analyze and see how Forest play. Okay, with that being said, I think people in the chat can throw up your questions. We'll do answer it along the way. As it's a deadline stream, we want to keep it more interactive, not keep it very boring. If there is any issues with the stream, please do let us know if there's any lag or some technical issues, just in case. Okay, with that being said, what are we going to basically cover up in the stream is that we're going to look at the trends. We look at the fixtures, some of the dilemmas that we've listed around that may also be some of your questions for us. Look at few of the captaincy options and our bus slash final teams. Okay, so with that being said, let's look at the trends for this week so far. And we have obviously Olive Watkins at the top, followed by Don Solanke, Cole Palmer, Pedro Porro, and Hinminson. And the outs are pretty much self-explanatory. Obviously, Haaland, uh, we did see him pictured in training, but we're not sure whether he's going to be match fit against Everton. We will know for sure. Alvarez, obviously, City have a blank. And Mbembo is unfortunately out for a long term. And then Sanchez as well is out for about a month or so. And obviously, frustrated Darwin Nunes owners are shipping him out. We do have, I think, one such manager here who's very frustrated. I think he will give his views later on. Hmm. So, guys, what do you think of these trends?
Yeah, I have interesting questions to ask both of you without checking the stats. So, what do you think Haaland's ownership is right now? What percentage is it? Is it just give it a wild guess?
70?
70. Sankalp?
I'm not
75 to
seeing. I have
70.
no idea. I've just basically guessed it.
Yeah, you'll be surprised because it's currently 63%, a lot lower than what we anticipated. So a lot of people actually sold him, expecting him to miss game week 19. So we saw like City actually posted the training photos with Haaland yesterday. Then they deleted it. Then today, someone came out and said that Haaland is not in the training again. So we are not sure what is happening behind the scene, but
Whether that was an
yeah,
accidental image or something, I don't know.
yeah,
But
I
this
don't
is
know. Yeah, and I'm surprised with Alvarez because if they think that Haaland is out, I know Alvarez blanks this game week, but then if Haaland is out next game week, they'll need Alvarez back again. So why are they actually selling Alvarez? So this is what puzzles me a bit. And some people say that he's in bad form, but I checked his form. He actually returned every other game in the past 6 games. So I don't know what is wrong here with Alvarez. Maybe you guys can enlighten me a bit.
maybe purely unable to field at least 10 players or so, I think. Could be happening because we're seeing a lot of players getting flagged, right, over the last few game weeks. And it's been very hard on us as SPL managers, right? A lot of our flags, obviously. Managers got in Isaac, he didn't play last week, and Eddie Howe didn't even say anything. Gordon, I mean, that's the issue. I think purely to field at least 10 players is going on.
And
Mhm,
I think on the left side, we also have some attractions. Like, so most people would be using that money to fund a Watkins or a Solanke.
mhm. Yeah. And I just want to mention regarding Sanchez because we don't know how long he's out for, but I'm really impressed with what how Petrovic did so far. Too bad he's 4.5 million. I had to check again because I
Mhm.
was hoping he's
Yeah.
slightly cheaper. So he's 4.5 million, so it will put a lot of people off. But then I think Sanchez might find it a bit slightly difficult to regain his place. I think he's not that straightforward when he comes back because Petrovic did quite well so far.
I mean, the coach seems to have trusted him because
Mhm,
he even in his last presser he was talking about how they are missing him Sanchez, right? So
mhm,
even if you go to the backup keeper at 4.5 million, it feels like a very short term move
mhm,
because Pochettino spoke very highly about Sanchez over the last presser, I think. So at 4.5 million, I don't think people will do it. At 4 million, maybe people would have gone for it. They do have decent fixtures in the next 2 3 weeks, right?
mhm.
So since we are on trends, we've got one question, and I'm going to put it straight up to Leon. Wilson punt.
Yeah, so
What do you think of this?
it's very Wilson is actually in a very unusual situation because when he came back from injury, he was rushed right away into the squad because Isaac was in and out, and also we don't have a third striker. So he was forced to play 90 minutes for a few games in a row now. So which is something he's not used to, and we don't know whether he's feeling fatigue or maybe slightly injured from a past injury. So of course, again, we don't have Isaac's news as people keep asking how is that going to start, because Adi Howe mentioned earlier that he might have a chance to make the EFL Cup game against Chelsea, but then eventually he's not in the squad. So there'll be a lot of question mark because we don't have any press conference from Eddie Howe. So maybe we can just go right away to my predicted Newcastle squad this game week, because I did a prediction with Josh, another Newcastle fan, on because we get a lot of questions on who is going to start for Newcastle this game week. We have a lot of owners of the cells who are worried. We have a lot of owners of Livramento, Trippier who are worried. We have a lot of owners of Gordon. I think Gordon is the most highly owned Newcastle players as well. So we don't know, because the last game we have Jolinton and Shah. Actually, they gone off the first half, and then Howe said that they'll go for scan, but there's no results update so far for the scan. So we'll have to assume that the injuries look quite serious, so they might be out. And also Gordon's injury as well. If you look on the surface, it looks a lot worse than the past few injuries that he had. And he had a lot of knocks and those small niggles this season. And also he has been playing non-stop. So he's sort of like Newcastle Saka this season. So there's a doubt about him starting every game week, but so far he has made it despite all the doubts that he has. So he keeps starting and starting again, and eventually we feel that he'll break down someday. So this week might be the week that he actually miss out, so that he can start on Tuesday. I think it's Tuesday or Wednesday next week. So yeah, so we have to go with this lineup. Isaac, Wilson, and Almiron up front, with the hope that Isaac is actually going to be fit, as House stated earlier. And also in the midfield three, we don't have any other choices, so it's going to be whatever we have: Miley, Longstaff, and Bruno. There's a catch, however. If Isaac is not well, then Livramento or Hall can actually start on the left hand side, but he won't play Hall because there's a clause in the loan that's saying that if he plays more than some sort of minutes, then you have to sign him permanently. So Eddie Howe only play Hall when he really have no other choice. So if Isaac is not fit enough to start, then Livramento might have a chance to start at left wing. So I think this might be some sort of good news for Livramento owners to punt on starting him if you have him. And then for the back four, again, Botman, he actually played 45 minutes in the EFL Cup, and then he got sub off halftime. Eddie Howe mentioned that it's not due to him being tired or injured, but it's just something that is pre-planned because they want to sort of keep him safe and not risk him for the whole game. So, which likely means that he'll start this one, because otherwise he won't be dragged off that early in such a crucial game. So Share probably is out, so we expect Botman to partner Lascelles. So Lascelles owners should be feeling safe on this, starting him. And Trippier should start despite him having the mistake that cost us the game. But I think it's okay to start, and he didn't start the game as well in the cup, so he should start this one. And I think the question mark will be on the left back position, whether Burn or Livramento will take that position. Burn was actually rested in the cup, and then so he's someone that Eddie House trusts. So we expect Burn and Trippier to have the fullback position, which means that Livramento will be benched unless Isaac is not well. So this is what we have predicted without any extra information.
Any
So
chance of
yeah,
Trippier getting rested for this week because he's been
uh,
playing non-stop?
Trippier, he had that suspension game, which
Yeah,
he already had the rest, and also he only played half the game in the cup, so he's fresh and
he
he
came
should
in
start
second.
this one. Yeah, so no worries for Trippier owners as well. So this is what I can tell for now, and any other questions I can't really answer. So just now someone asked about Wilson. Of course, Wilson will start this one. Wilson will start this one almost for sure. So yeah, it's for punts. Depends on how long you want him for. If you look at our fixtures, we have Luton, then we have Forest at home. Then, but after that, the fixtures turn really ugly. We have Liverpool, City, and Aston Villa three in a row. So, do you really want Wilson for these games? Then you have to think before you get him in, I guess.
So he can be your way out to Haaland, right? So you play him for Luton and Forest, and then you go to Haaland.
Hmm.
That can be one way.
Yeah, yeah. So it depends on how long you want to hold Wilson for, actually.
Okay, okay.
Hmm.
Perfect. So we're looking at the transfer ins. Any surprises there?
No.
Not really. I mean, these are all pretty much straightforward bandwagon names. So there's
I'm, s-
nothing out of the ordinary yet.
I'm surprised people are still buying Sun. I thought, anyone who wanted him has already had him. And we are, what, I think 2, 3 weeks away from him leaving anyway.
I think they're set to leave. I think Game Week 21 onwards. Or Game Week 20. I think it's 21 till 24, more or less, they are not going to be available.
He just mentioned that he'll play 20, then after 20 he'll depart for the training camp, so he won't be available for 21.
Correct. So this
Yeah,
is 3 weeks now.
Yeah, 3 game weeks in a week. We're going to see.
Yeah, the game weeks are flying in. It's raining so hard. It's very difficult to remember which game week we are on. Right?
So I just wanted to ask a question to you guys since we are on transfer trends, it will make sense. At this point, what do you see to get in a player? Like, do you start running behind players who have performed well and who have decent fixtures, or you get in players who are guaranteed to play more minutes because we are. This is a very crucial time, right? At least until the first week of Jan, we are going to have continuous games every day, and teams are more or less likely to rotate here and there. So what do you chase? You chase after players who will play regular minutes, or you chase after players who are probably good on a haul or something like that. I mean, not guaranteed with all. I mean, something.
Where overlap is possible, you try and get those players right. So if someone has very good fixtures, my first thought is who in this team is playing most of the minutes. Right, is an attacker. That's the first thought. But yeah, I feel like my risk appetite has gone down a bit in the sense I'm not going to go for a Nunes. Right, I did not for the last 2, 3 weeks. There was a lot of attraction back then, but I resisted because I thought Gapco will come back, in a couple of weeks, and then there might be a competition. With one poor performance, you never know who starts, right? So, with that in mind, I didn't. I'm just trying to avoid such picks more and more. I'm okay with going for players of Everton, with Fulham, of decent upcoming teams who are playing well now, who are on a good form. But I feel like they are better picks because they provide you that 90-minute security than going for a City player right now, or one of those Liverpool forwards, or any other dicey pick where you are a bit unsure about the minutes.
yeah. My way of playing is also almost the same, especially during the festive periods of every year. So you tend to have a lot of rotations, and especially now we have a lot of injuries. So it makes it even more important for us to get the players that guarantee at least a start, not to mention 90 minutes. So usually what I will do is I'll make sure that my bench will start as well. All three benches will start, and if possible, all play 90 minutes. And if there's some injuries or rotations, then I still have some cover. So that's how my squad looks right now. I think, yeah, I'll look for securities during the festive seasons.
Agree. I think yeah, it's kind of. I think the best is what as Sankalp said. Right? You need to find the best of both. If you manage to get it, well and good. If not, pick based on what is your appetite for. let's let's look at KB getting fixtures. Obviously, since we're pretty much near the first game, Palace against Brighton. Brighton. One thing to say is that I think probably they're going to have an excellent run of games over the next few game weeks, based on their fixtures. but obviously the way they're defending, you're put off with their defenders and offensive wise, right? It's like you don't know who's going to end up getting what. So, what do you think of this first game?
Uh, I just heard that Weltman is out for 2 months. So they currently have zero fullbacks because they have Estupinian out and Lamti out as well. And we saw how Milner played against Saka the last game. He really had no idea how to handle Saka. And then when Weltman is sub out, they have to play Hinshelwood out of position. So that's the only two guys that they can play in the fullback position unless they get more young guys, which who knows? De Zerbi might do that. So defensively, even at full strength, they are already weak. They are already not keeping any clean sheet this season, and now they are further weakened. So I don't see them keeping clean sheets soon or in any maybe none at all this season. So yeah, it's not looking good for Brighton right now.
Yeah, I think it will be an interesting match and matchup, especially for a player like Eze. I don't know whether he starts this week, but I think he's getting closer and closer to fitness. This might be a match where Palace turn it around over the last few weeks. They have looked more and more likely to. So I'm a bit more in favor of Palace now. Brighton are looking really, really short in terms of fitness. You can see that Europe has stressed them a lot and they don't have the bandwidth to handle it. At the same time, given the way they were dismantled by Arsenal, I will say their coach will look to come back, right? So they have it in them to have those good days, but on a general basis, on a long term basis, I feel like Brighton is a good team to avoid now.
Yeah, I think Roy Hodgson mentioned in his press conference that he's going to try to protect Eze a bit more this time. We know what happened last time when he rushed Eze to start, then he got injured again. So he might not start this one. I won't be surprised. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Mhm.
Next game we have is Villa against Sheffield. I think more or less the split of captaincy game. This is going to be one of that. Not split, I would say. Probably the more obvious pick is playing in this particular fixture. And Villa playing at home, and Villa this season at home have been excellent. So it's going to be an interesting game. Obviously, Sheffield have a new manager away. They have Wilder back, so you can't underestimate anyone at the moment. And obviously, this festive, I mean, this congested period, we've always seen funny results pop up sometimes. And I'm not going to jinx anything, but what do you guys think of this game?
Uh, I- he just mentioned just now that Pau Torres is out. For sure. So there's a lot of people asking. I'm surprised that a lot of people are still holding cash. I think Joe is one of them as well. So for those who hold cash, actually they want to ask or know whether cash is going to start this one. So I think most likely he will, because Konsa is going to have to be pushed to centre back to partner Diego Carlos. So yeah, other than that, I think Sheffield
Kamara is
United.
missing.
Yeah, Sheffield United, since Wilder has uh, taken over, I actually studied a bit about the small sample size that we have for the defensive stats. So before Wilder took over, their XG considered was one goal every 53 minutes, which is, sorry, one goal every 44 minutes, which is dead last in the league. But after Wilder took over, he sort of changed the formation a bit, and then I think he started playing 4-3-3 if not mistaken, and then their defensive stats improved to actually one goal in 54 minutes, which is now fifth last in the league for these three small sample size. However, in these three games, they actually face Liverpool and Chelsea. So those are attacking teams. So there's a concern there because he managed to tighten up the defense. So whether they can hold Aston Villa um, to scoreless, I don't think so. Maybe they can hold them to lesser goals, one or two goals instead of four or five goals, maybe.
I
I
think those
think
are
this.
captaining Watkins.
Yeah.
They're not
Yes,
going to
they
like
are.
this.
I think Sheffield can be tight, can be packed. We did see Villa struggle quite a lot against a strong defense in Brentford. If you take out that red card, and it was a debatable red card, I think if you take out that red card, Villa might have come out with a draw or even a loss. And so you can see it is going to be a tight week. I don't expect high scores in this week, but there's also a possibility of someone like Bailey coming on and changing things. Right? I think they rely a lot on their wingers for this match to produce those magical moments to be able to create for Watkins or even maybe go out and score a goal themselves. I like this Bailey punt for this week in case people have this one position they want to play around or people who still have the wild card and are going to use next week. I think Bailey might be a strong way to, a good way to take a punt this week. There are more, but I think Bailey's good one as well.
Yeah, I actually saw one of Aston Villa's ITK FPL villain. He actually predicted that Villa is going to start with three attackers in Bailey, Diaby, and Watkins to go all out and just attack Sheffield United. So yeah, that might happen, and that might lead to either a lot of goals or they might be frustrated.
We do have a question
Mhm.
here from Dukara 500. Whether Cass is expected to start the game. Uh, I saw FPL Williams, standing prediction, and he's not fairly confident. He's giving Cass a 15% start. I feel there's a good chance that he starts, but he himself says it's a close call. Right? If you have him, I think you play him, you take that opportunity. Uh, for Dinia, it's a bit, it's way closer because Moreno is looking good. He scored in the last match. But with Cass, I do feel that this week he will get that opportunity, but he's not a long term hold. Maybe just for this week.
Yes. Next game, we have West Ham United against Manchester United. Uh, what do you need to talk, guys?
I just wanted to talk about West Ham, I think, because I'm quite surprised by their lineup in the EFL Cup. They actually rested plenty of first teamers, including Zuma, Paqueta, Ward-Prowse, Cresswell. Ariola got a start, but then he's no longer the confirmed keeper. I think someone predicted that Fabianski will start the next one. We are not sure about that. So they sort of give up the Liverpool game because they have one eye on this Man United game. So I think they'll be going all out to try to win this game. And also, I'm interested to know, Aditya, what do you think about United performance the last nil-nil draw against Liverpool? Are you satisfied with it?
I think to say the yes, I'm satisfied. Most of us have to be satisfied. We were more or less the underdogs. We were predicted to get battered and to lose and to go there and get a point is something huge for us, considering uh, how the last few weeks have gone. But yeah, this game is not going to be easy. I know. Obviously, United have always kind of struggled playing at the London Stadium. West Ham are like the bogey team. Not going to jinx it, but we have to, put on a stronger foot and get 3 points here. I think, considering the way we played against Liverpool, uh, if we had taken our chances, we could have beaten them. Unfortunately, we didn't. The same goes for Liverpool as well. It's okay. That's why it was a draw. But this game is very important. Let's see what's going to happen. It's unpredictable. I mean, if we have West Ham assets, it's okay. We can expect them to score probably, but I don't know what's going to happen. It's a tough game.
Yeah. Good
I
news is
mean,
you have Bruno back from suspension, and but unfortunately, Dalo is out for suspension as well.
That was such a
Yeah.
rubbish thing to happen.
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
for sure.
I don't know.
Very stupid
Fair
decision.
to say it was Michael Oliver wanted to be on the front of the paper, I guess. So he did such a stupid thing. But no, that's fair. VR has been always a joke. Referees, I don't know. I see. I just saw the Nail comedy Sintalo. That was really unfortunate. Yeah. This is one thing that everyone agrees. We can't find anyone who disagrees that there has to be a red. But fair to say, most of us agree. That's good. Yes,
Anyone
yeah. Again, I'm just same. Yeah, he wanted to make the game about him.
Anyone going Bowen or Kudus, because I think these guys are Bowen scored even in the FA Cup match, right? He's playing as a number 9 now. Kudus is playing really, really well. Right. So again, any of you guys looking for that punt for that move? The fixes are not that great, but I feel like they keep scoring. They
Yeah,
score one goal.
I have Bowen for some weeks now and really happy with it. I think it's one of our dilemmas later, so maybe we can just discuss it right now. I think it's
We can do
our
whatever.
yeah
You want to go to dilemmas,
yeah
or you
yeah.
want to quickly run through the fixtures here?
Uh, Maybe we can just straight away jump to that since we mentioned about Kudus and
Okay.
Bowen. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's our seventh dilemma, I think, after this page, the next page.
Next. Okay.
Yeah. So Bowen, Kudus, or Pakita, right? Can West Ham Meets replicate their magic against Man United? So yeah. So one thing I want to say about Pakita is he had a hat trick of assists the last game, but I wouldn't use that one game as a standard because his assists are really not really good assists because he only have 0.03 XA in that game, but he still managed to produce three assists. So it's not something that is capable of being sustained. Kudus has been amazing, but I don't think a lot have him right now. So if you don't have him, probably you don't want to buy him. As you mentioned just now, he's going to AFCON. So it's probably too late to buy him. So I actually did a comparison between Kudus and Bowen, and their attacking stats are quite similar. Kudus has a better assist potential, and Bowen is better in XG because if you look at the heat map, actually he has a lot more touches in the box because he sort of play as that shadow striker, so he sort of move in the box a lot. So compared to Kudus, so I think both are good options, but I would go for Bowen just solely based on the fact that he's going to AFCON.
Yeah, even I agree. Even I have Bowen since I wildcarded, and I mean, obviously we had the patch in the middle where Bowen got injured and people made the sideways move to Kudus. I think fair enough, it worked well. But if you're looking to get in Kudus now, probably it's, as you said, it's not preferably the right time as he's going to AFCON. So that's the only thing. Yeah.
We look at Nigel's question. Very interesting question. I like it.
Yeah, I was just going to get to that because let's answer right away. Gordon to Richarlison and Darwin to Gabriel Jesus, and it's for a hit.
Will you guys do it? Gordon to Richarlison feels pretty straightforward, right?
Yeah,
Gordon is
yeah,
injured,
yeah.
Richarlison available. I'm hoping he doesn't need any money out of that move because it's more or less fairly similarly priced, right?
I think the irony is that the Liverpool fan itself wants to transfer out his striker to get in an Arsenal
For a hit.
forward. He's expecting for a hit. So fair play. I mean, he's playing 4D chess here. So I think even those who have Darwin ship him out, it's not going to work.
No, I think there's a lot of strong news about Nunes perhaps getting benched this week. Logically, it makes sense. They do need a strong, strong press against us. Uh, if Gordon to Richarlison is without any additional money requirement, I would say just do that. I'll not do a Nunes to Jesus this week because I don't think even if Nunes comes off the bench, for a 1 pointer, I think Jesus giving a 5 pointer plus chances are decent, not great. He did score at Anfield last season, but we are a very attacking team last season. We are just looking good over the last few weeks. I have been using. I have had Gabriel Jesus for the last few weeks. I captained him last week. Very happy with it, but at the same time, I have very low expectations out of the Liverpool game. I'm playing him because I have him, right? I don't think Nunes to Jesus is worth a hit this week. Next week, more than happy to do it. Is my thought as Arsenal fan. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I actually agree with Sankalp. So I currently have Darwin, so I'm holding it for whatever reason. So we'll look at what we do with him the next game week. So not this game week for a hit.
Agreed. I mean, obviously, we're in a tight fixture run, right? So hit. I mean, if you take a hit, Jesus has to really get it like 10, 12 pointer. If you expect
Yeah,
that, then you take a hit.
yeah.
Otherwise, it's for one
It's
or two
not
points.
looking that well, right? It's not looking that strong a match. And Liverpool, by the way, have a very strong defense, at least from a stats point of view. They have considered the same number of goals as us. It's like 15 goals or something in 17 matches. So it's not like Liverpool is a weak defense which we are going to target. I don't think that is going to be a case. I think it's a tight match ahead.
Is expected, yes, it will be a tight game. So I think let's kind of say we've covered Liverpool, Arsenal, so we'll just cross that off this list. Let's go back. Let's go to Fulham against Burnley. Interesting game. Fulham are playing at home, and we've seen how lethal they have been over the last few home games. So you did pick up, and we did speak about Leon Bailey, but what about some of the Fulham midfielders to consider? What do you guys think? I mean, I'm just throwing it up.
Hey, I got a Fulham midfielder this week.
Oh, okay. Somebody played brave.
Should we guess who he is?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I don't
William,
really know.
William. I'm guessing it's
Really.
William or
Uh,
Andres
uh,
Pereira.
So
if
Leon,
it's up to me, I'll go for Iwobi. But
so
you
two
are
ex
Arsenal fan, so
yes.
you won't go for Iwobi. I'm sure, right?
Yeah, being an Arsenal fan, I find it very difficult to go for William
Yeah.
or Iwobi now. Right. So the other guy is Pereira. I got in Dukure last week. Among a host of moves, I required it to get. I think I just did it. Right. I sold Huang and I got in Dukure. I wanted to target Burnley. Unfortunately, Dukure got injured. So I thought, hey, let's continue the mission going. And Fulham have looked fairly strong. I was looking at the stats over the last three home matches, right? So they played West Ham at home. They scored 5 goals. They had a two plus xg. They played Nottingham Forest at home. They had 5 goals. They had 3 plus xg. Before that, they played Wolves at home. Scored 3 goals, 1-3-2. Again, 2.5 xg. Right. So they are creating a lot, and uh, Pereira is looking like a creator. I don't expect him to score. Even if he gets me assist is great. But what I've done is primarily I've saved another point 0.5 or 1 million from that move. And Fulham do have a good set of fixtures ahead. I was looking at the fixture. It's Burnley at home that we see. Then it's Bournemouth away, Arsenal home, Chelsea away. Chelsea I'm not very concerned because I feel like they will give their best there. Then it's Everton home, Burnley away again, Bournemouth home again, and then it's Villa, and then the fixtures go away. Right? So I can see a 6-7 week run for Fulham. So it's not a short term punt for me. It's something that I can roll with for a good amount of time. And since it's just 5.2 million midfielder, I won't feel bad if I have to bench in some week.
Leon, you're on mute.
Yeah, just as for this game, they'll be without Raul Jimenez, so that might affect their attack a little bit. Uh, and also for Burnley, I think there are some news as well because Lau Foster is back. I think he played half of the game last game, so it's really something Burnley need because I think I heard some rumors saying that company's job is on the line. So if he don't get the results soon, then he might be on the chopping block. So this might not be a game that he he can get something out of it. I don't think so. They started with a 4.4 million striker, Muniz, I think, in the cup game, rather than Carlos Vinicius. So I think they'll save Vinicius for this game to start. So I don't think it will affect their attack a lot. Just that sometimes Fulham likes to rotate their mids a bit. Sometimes they start with Willian. Sometimes they sort of bench Willian and start Harry Wilson.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the only concern is Andreas and also Iwobi. So if you want to go for secured minutes, probably two of them rather than the other two.
Correct. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wilson, I had looked at, and he gets a bit of rotation. I do expect him to start ahead of Willian. I feel like the manager is more or less now consolidating his team, and this exercise the first exercise for him because they look fairly settled in the way they build up their attack. Right. I don't think going forward we'll see much of a issue. But at the same time, like we spoke, at the start of the pod, right? It's about taking players from, even if you're going from lower teams, it's about taking players who are going to play a lot of minutes.
Yes. Okay. Next, we'll go to this fixture, that's Luton against Newcastle.
We do have
Uh,
another question if you guys want to.
uh, which one is it? Check up. Did we just get one now?
Yes,
Right
yes.
now.
Osman.
Okay. I think best transfer in Bowen, Richarlison, or Gordon. Transfer out Hong or TRP.
Yeah, so two questions basically: who should he transfer? Who should he transfer in? Right, what do you guys think?
If you want to go for long term, I would probably prefer Richarlison over Bowen because we don't know Gordon's status right now, so it's not good to risk it to transfer him in and just find out that he doesn't play. So I think it's between Bowen and Richarlison. Um, I think Spurs have slightly better fixtures in long term, and transfer out probably Diaby because his minutes are less secured compared to Huang. Yeah.
So for me, if you ask me, I like Richarlison because it's a long-term move. We know Son is going out and Richarlison is going to play as the number nine, and Spurs are the more attacking team. Right? But I don't feel this a wrong decision between Bowen and Richarlison. At least with Bowen, you get the consistency of an FPL asset. Right? That's one of the best part about Bowen. But there's also price premium. I think it's around 1 million difference between them. Right? So that is there. So if you go for the consistency of Bowen, you have to pay that 1 million extra. As long as you have the price, it's okay. You should not worry too much on the mid to long term. But transfer out, I feel like Huang is the better move this week. uh, I do feel, yeah, Diaby is the guy that you don't want to have in your team, but to be honest, neither of these players should be in your team from now on, right? So this week, this week it looks like Diaby is going to start again. FPL William, someone we follow, he has tweeted around 80% certainty that Diaby is going to start, and this looks like a good week for them, right? So I would play Diaby this week, take out Huang this week because it's not a great match for them. And I think that attack has started looking a bit subdued. We don't know when Neto comes back. When he does, it changes for us, right? So that's the reason I would say pick one of Bowen or Richarlison, but perhaps Huang is the better transfer out this week.
Yes, yes, even I agree. I think if TAB is certain more or less to start, doesn't make sense shipping him out. So makes sense. Okay, as I said before, I think when I was speaking,
Luton.
Luton against Newcastle. It's a tough place to go for
For big
Newcastle,
teams.
especially.
For big teams, all the big teams have struggled there, be it
Yeah,
Liverpool, Arsenal, City. None of us had it easy there. And I think Liverpool drew, and we scored a very last minute winner. And I think City also had a late winner. Right, they scored it late in the second half. So not an easy match at all. But how do you feel, Young? You guys have been struggling a bit, fairly tired squad.
Yeah, as we mentioned earlier about Newcastle, so I won't go deeper into that. But then
Hmm.
our away form has been terrible, so I don't see us keeping a clean sheet again in this one. So I think it's bad news for single or double Newcastle defender owners. Yeah, if you can just probably bench one of them if possible. And Luton will score. Definitely, they have scored in every home game this season except for one against Spurs. So I can see them putting the crosses in, and I can see our defense struggle a bit to deal with the crosses, and eventually, like someone that Adebayo, maybe he has scored in 3 games in
exactly.
a row now, so
All
probably he's a threat. Yeah.
far
So
post. Boom,
yeah,
boom,
that's
boom.
why we need Botman there to deal with the crosses, but we are not sure whether he's 100% fit or not to start the game. But I think definitely we'll concede for this one. So I'm not really optimistic. If we come away with 1 point, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a bit surprised, but then Leong is very fairly close to his team. I feel Newcastle are one of the few teams who can go there and take out a come out without conceding. I don't want to jinx them, but I do feel that they are one of those teams, right? Where if they decide, if Howe says we are fairly tired, we have fairly tired squad, we are going to sit back and counter because they are going to attack us regardless, right? So if they do that, I feel like Newcastle have a good chance of sticking it out. It's a tough place for sure, but again, you guys do have tall players in, right, to manage those set pieces. I have Trippier. I in fact had Trippier as a vice captain at some point of time, though I changed it out. But I do feel there's a good chance that if you have them, you play them. If you have two, I'll still play two. All right, I'll take that risk with Newcastle.
Okay, I mean, as far as I've seen Luton play few games, Luton are a fearless team. They don't care who they play, and they go and start pressing them straight away up front. And so when you said that Newcastle are going to sit back, so, I don't know. I think this could be an open game end to end. We never know.
Yeah, and also
Tired legs, open leg games.
yeah, and they are at home, so they will want to do it for their captain Lockyer. So this they'll be very motivated to attack us in this game. So you see it's a very tough game.
Next fixture.
Okay, moving on. Next fixture we have obviously Nuno's Forest taking on Bournemouth, and we do have one question in the dilemma, I think, but I'm just going to even put this up question: is Dom Solanke still up by? Let's just kind of cover it up here.
If anything, last week he again scored. So it feels like Nehal definitely wants to sell Nunes this week. So
He wants to get a formal Liverpool player.
yeah, so he's just looking out for players to buy. I feel like Solanke is a fairly good asset, right? He's your second or third forward wherever you want to place him, and I see him as a good long-term asset, mid to long-term asset. So, though, even if fixtures are bad, they still went to United away and they scored, right? I think Solanke scored there as well. So these are players who can give you points anytime. If you're picking them, just keep playing them, and over long term, I think you'll be happy as long as you utilize that money somewhere else.
Yeah, I agree. If you look at let's assume that you have Haaland and Watkins as your two strikers, so you want a cheaper sort of cheaper third striker below 7 million.
Here's for you.
Uh, enables me to get Haaland in one transfer. Okay.
Definitely
Even
do it.
that was my thinking. So I think that is what everybody is doing, right? It's easy,
Yeah.
one swap move.
Okay.
Correct.
So let's say you want someone below 7 million. Um, there's no other better strikers. I think below 7 million other than Solanke and Alvarez. So those are the two good strikers below that price point. And if you compare between both of them, his minutes is actually more secured. And also I think a lot of people don't realize that he is actually a penalty taker because Bournemouth have not have a single penalty since their time in the Premier League. So if they ever get one, which I think they eventually will, then Solanke will be taking that penalty as well.
Yeah,
So and he also have a double game week coming up. We don't know when. Probably, I think based on Ben
120.
Krelin's post, it probably will be after game week 25 because it won't be that soon. So that if you get him, then probably it will be a long term. But then he mentioned here that he want to get him in for Haaland. So I'm not sure.
No, he's saying he will use Solanke to get Haaland
Hmm.
next week.
Use Solanke to get Haaland,
You know,
meaning.
save the price, save the money from a
Mhm.
Nunes to a Solanke, and
Uh-huh.
upgrade someone else to a Haaland
Oh,
next week.
someone else. I see. I see.
And on a single transfer, I would say do it.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, sure.
So next
Next
up,
game.
Spurs and
We have
Everton.
Richarlison. Richarlison going back to his former team. What do you expect? Richarlison hat trick.
So,
Angry Richarlison playing.
yeah, I mean it didn't strike me, but this is a good point. I do think Richarlison comes in with a vengeance, but I don't know why he'll have vengeance because Everton were very good to him. They sold
He's
him when
always
they.
angry, so
But so I think the most popular captains for this game week it's either Son or it's Watkins, right? I, Everton have looked fairly solid over the last 4 5 weeks. I think, funnily, the only match where they conceded and a lot was United at home. They conceded three goals there to United, right? But every other they have played Newcastle, they have played Chelsea, they have kept clean sheet after clean sheet, right? So I don't think it's an easy match for Spurs, but at the same time Spurs have gone through that five winless run already, right? So I do feel Spurs are looking on the upturn again, and that's one of the reason my current captaincy is with Sun, right? But what are you guys feeling with Sun playing again as a left wing? Richarlison taking that number 9. Do you see blank for Sun? Do you see Richarlison as a better point for captaincy, maybe?
Um, we have Brandon Johnson back in this game. So again, I think Spurs will unleash four attackers against Everton. Son, Johnson, Richarlison, and Kulusevski. So they'll be going very attacking again. And Everton, as we know, already kept four consecutive clean sheets, which is the most consecutive clean sheets we have this season. So I don't see them keeping another clean sheet here. Definitely, because Spurs have been scoring at home, I think, for a very, very long time now. They do have Brent White coming back from suspension, which is huge for them because it's part of the tough defense that Sean Dyche has built this season.
But
And
Milenko is out, right?
sorry,
Milenko is out.
yeah,
That is
and also Ducouré is out as well. So they actually miss a few good players as well.
yeah.
So I can see Spurs scoring. Maybe one or two goals, not more than that. Yeah, Everton will try to keep it very tight again, and we'll see whether their plan succeed in this one. But Son, as you mentioned just now, his move to left wing, I don't see is a problem because if you look at his stats in the past two game weeks when Richarlison came back and his push to left, his attacking stats including XG and XA they are actually better than when he played the central striker. And when he was interviewed, he also mentioned that he actually preferred to play then, and he wants Richarlison to play in centrally because he feels that Richarlison is a better finisher than him. So I feel he'll continue to thrive in that left position, just like how he played. I think together with Harry Kane when he's there. I think he likes that position more than the lone striker role.
So, what do you think of this? We've just got to this question. Should I sell Martinelli for Richarlison? What do you think, Sankar? What to do?
Yeah, I agree. I
Okay,
think
that's
it's a good move.
there you go. We have the answer from an Arsenal fan. Best answer we could ever give. Anyways, Liverpool against Arsenal, we didn't cover it up. So we're skipping it and we're going to the last fixture for this game. We're getting it's Wolves against Chelsea. What do you guys think of this game? Or could we see Nkunku play finally or start rather?
I think he still comes off the bench. I don't think they'll risk it because it's been a long-term injury. They gave him some minutes in the cup. He even scored a penalty, I think. Right, so it'll be good to see more minutes out of him. But purely from a FPL asset, going into this kind of run like we are speaking about, I won't get him now. I'll just see it out. If he looks good, great. See out another week. Just wait for him to hit that 60-minute mark in a match, and then the week later you can buy him. Right? He's a good player. He will give you points more or less. I was just looking at stats, and since 1st of November, over the last 2 months, odd, Chelsea have created the highest XG at 17, 16.67, and they've scored 15 goals. So it's not a huge underperformance as well. They have been scoring as well. So and Kuku will be a good addition, but I think most of us are with Cole Palmer, right? And I was very happy to see those good haul last week. And I do feel this week again feels like a Cole Palmer sort of week. I don't know if anyone can captain Palmer. I would have loved to if it was a home match, but with away, I remember captaining Sun Wolves away and he blanked, so I don't want to do that again.
Yeah, I'm probably the only manager out there who don't have Palmer right now. So, but I feel like Nkunku's return actually sort of changed the mood a bit in the camp because sort of give them a boost, even though he doesn't play a lot so far. But the way they react when he was subbed in and he hit that penalty in the cup game, you can see there's something that has changed in Chelsea. But we don't know whether how long it will last. But I think they're a better team now with Nkunku, whether he starts or not. And also, Chelsea defense, I think, is really a mess and is still a mess. Colwill was sub off. Again, uh, Pochettino mentioned that it's not due to injury related, so I think his owner should be fine in starting him again this game. And also something about Wolf, we saw that Neto is our favorite winger. Neto is back in training. However, he is not available for this game, so probably he'll be back the next one. And maybe also for Burnley owners, I think there's several Burnley owners as well. Sa is fit to start this one, so yeah, you probably have to look for another goalkeeper. But overall, I can see that both sides will score in this one. But I can see Chelsea probably edged out by one goal.
They're looking more and more
Mm-hmm.
confident, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think they played really well against you guys also in the Carabao Cup.
Yeah.
Right? So it feels like a price, but we do see a strong no Cole Palmer squad, right? Nehal is there, and
No call army.
we have
Yeah.
SJ as well, who doesn't have Palmer. So,
Mm-hmm.
uh, but what's the thinking? I feel like he's a great ideal fifth midfielder to have, given the fact he's already on penalties as well. It's a very weird combination to have a 4.95 million guy who's also on penalties. And given the
I
fixtures that
think
they have, feels almost like a no-brainer.
I think once Nkunku starts, he might lose it. Do you think?
Difficult to
Mm.
say, but he has looked one of the bright spots. Initially, that was my thought, but he's looked so bright for them. Uh, I won't be even surprised if Sterling gets benched for Nkunku, right? So I feel like he's the guy who was the most form. I see Yes is there on the chat. He's a Chelsea fan. I would love to know who he thinks now will finally move out for Nkunku.
I think the Jackson and Kunku partnership worked well pre-season. So Poch might want to see if he can repeat that. So I think Jackson looked a bit lost without Nkunku behind him at the starting of the season. So I don't think he will sacrifice Jackson. So who else they have? Sterling. Yeah, Sterling is on 4 yellows, I think still. So you won't really want to buy Sterling this game week if you don't have him. So who else they have? They have Palmer and they have I think Enzo as the fourth
En-
attacker.
Enzo is a bit injured as well. I'm not sure
Yeah.
he'll play this week.
hmm So I
Right.
think Palmer's place is fairly secured for now, unless something changed or unless he lost
I
his form.
think I think we've got few answers here. So that's one is that both Sterling and Palmer will get rotated due to Nkunku. Sterling more so than Palmer, and another one is that Jackson and Mudrik gel well with Nkunku. Both will get more minutes.
Yeah. So
Interesting.
Mudrik is someone we had missed out on, but I think he is looking fairly good. He did score against Newcastle as well, right? So it'll be interesting to see, who gets more and more minutes, right?
I
Uh,
think Poch will typically play his 4-2-3-1 sort of way, and
yeah.
you might see Mudrik on the left, Palmer on the right, Nkunku on the middle, and Jackson up front.
That would
Pretty
be a
much.
fairly balanced squad, and I feel the kind of pace they will have, right? It will work out well for them in the long term, and I think Chelsea realizes that Cole Palmer is the future for them, right? Sterling is definitely not. And so it would make more sense to give those minutes, but at the same time, like we spoke, we are in the middle of a strong run, so you never know if Nkuku comes up, maybe one of them gets that bench or rest, right?
One odd benching we might see. I mean, we shouldn't be disappointed.
Mhm.
Anyways, I think there's one more question. Let's answer it right away. Play Huang or take a hit for Richarlison?
Play Huang.
I will take a hit for Richarlison. I don't like hit for this week. I also feel that Everton are a strong defensive unit, right? And generally, my thought I had completely forgotten about that revenge factor, but my thought is generally that the Everton centre backs can handle center forwards really strong, really well, right? So if the goals come, they come from the wing. So that was my thought initially, but you never know. That chemistry, that ex Everton thing, flame.
I just got it away, just simply saying Richarlison is going to have a boxing match with Everton centre back. See, I mean, he's an aggressive player. Like unless he doesn't get that sort of drama and all,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
not the way Richarlison plays, right? So it's going to be interesting, or it could go
I
opposite.
think he got
Anyways,
some counseling sessions when he was rehabbing, so maybe his mental state is better now. We don't know.
It's a interesting comments from Yes. He
Mhm.
says pre-season chemistry was max between Mudrik and Nkoku, and low blocks might dictate more Palmer. Right? So that's the reason I like him as a fifth midfielder. If he doesn't start, I'm okay, but it also means that low blocks are generally your teams which are not that great, right? So if you are playing not so great oppositions, you might see Palmer start, which I would like as well, right?
okay, we've touched an hour, Marco. So I think we are how many hours away from the deadline? I think we're roughly about an hour and a half away from the deadline.
Yeah, and still no
Any
leaks.
updates or something? No leaks
No,
as of
no
yet. Okay,
leaks. Yeah,
fine.
I'm
Good.
checking Twitter, but there's no leaks so far. The only leaks
Fine.
is unrelated to FPL, but PSG has rejected the Super League. That's all.
That, I
Yeah.
think all of them will do now. That's not a problem. Anyways, let's look at the dilemmas for this week. We just quickly run through them and just like a quick fire, yes or no, or something very short. Let's not drag it too much. Erling Haaland, what is the strategy? I mean, I think pretty much sell now, invest the funds, figure out how to bring back later. I think it's more or less what people have done last week is sell, get Solanke or a cheap striker, keep the funds, don't spread it anywhere. As soon as Haaland is fit, get him back. I think
I
that's
won't
pretty
sell
much
him.
what happened.
I would say you have missed that bus, right? If you sell him now, the theory was you get to someone like Salah, right? Or even Son, maybe, right? But most of the people who are holding on to Haaland will not have Salah, Son, right? But this is not a great game week as such for those assets. And in theory, he should start the next week, which will be a home match for him. It's against Everton, but it will be a home match, right? So I won't sell him now. If you have done it, great. You have to make plans to get him back in a week or two. But if you have not done it, just play him next week and hope for the best.
Yeah. I think the mentality of some people who sold him is that they don't really need him for Game Week 19, regardless whether he's fit or not, because they are facing Everton away, so they don't expect Haaland to really score a lot, or they don't really want to captain Haaland in the game, which is why they are not in rush to get Haaland back for Game Week 19. But they are going to get Haaland back for Game Week 20 at home against Sheffield United for sure. So that time, I think is the last game for Salah before he's going to AFCON, and he has Newcastle. So probably people can do the Salah to Haaland move in a free transfers. Not sure if that's what they have in plan right
But
now.
this week, you won't want to fund a Salah move anymore, right?
Hmm.
You can do it if you have a wild card. Still play, and next week you are going to use it. Then maybe do it. It
Yeah,
won't bother
that's
you.
my situation right now. I have the wildcard, so I'm just waiting for news whether I'm going to wildcard it 19 or 20. So it depends on when I'm going to wildcard Haaland in. Hmm.
In
So
such a case, you can say
when is the first wildcard going off?
The
Like
last
last
time
year,
you can use it is Game Week 20.
20.
Yeah.
20. Okay, so for those who have it, please keep that in mind. Don't miss it out. We've seen few instances in the past. People have activated
Missed out
wildcard
on
2
that.
thinking it is wildcard 1. Okay, next one. I think we did answer it earlier in the stream. Watkins' price is he too expensive now? Should we consider Bailey? I think at the moment, form wise, Bailey is someone worth considering, but Watkins 8.7 is crazy price rise. I think me and Leong, before we started the stream, we were discussing when did we get Watkins, and we both of us got Watkins in game week 7, the week where he scored 23 points. I think both of us got him for 7.9 and he's gone up to 8.7. Is unbelievable over the last 10 odd game weeks, right? So, what do you really do if you don't have Watkins? Do you still go for him or you probably look at Bailey?
If you
Um.
want to get him, this is the week to get him. I don't see any other reason to
Mhm.
wait. Watkins has 108 points. He's just 4 points short of Haaland. So that's the kind of season he's been having, right? So I think he's the third player to cross 100 points. So ge- I don't have him. I don't have a way of getting him. So I'll figure out that move when I sell Salah and restructure my team. But I think it's a very sensible decision to get him. Even this week, I feel like Watkins might be the better captain.
Mhm.
See choice, right? So if you don't have him, get him because I think the price rise will continue. He will continue giving points. There will be more and more managers giving,
Yeah.
trying to get him. Even if the point, acceleration comes down a bit, but every time he scores, there will be some sort of missing out FOMO sort of thing going on between managers, and there will be more and more managers trying to get him.
Yeah, I just checked his ownership is actually 51% right now, Watkins, but it's definitely higher towards those active managers. I think most of them have him.
Yeah.
Mhm. And also, since we talked about Bailey, actually, I also did some checking. Uh, but Bailey thing is his minute concerns, right? He only played how many minutes? I think the past two games, 25 minutes and 45 minutes. So we can't really guarantee his minutes. But he has a lot of returns, and if you look at his XGI per 90 minutes, yeah, it's actually similar to Watkins. So if he get the minutes, then definitely he's a good choice. But then, as someone mentioned earlier, he's almost sure to start this game against Sheffield United. So, yeah, I think he's a good punt for this game week.
Okay, next one. With Poro excelling, and there are numerous options in Spurs attack, how many Spurs players are truly essential? I got in Pedro Poro like 2 game weeks back or so for a hit, and fair to say, not it. I did cash to Poro for a hit 2 weeks back. It's fine. It's turning out okay. We shouldn't jinx a lot. What do you guys think here about this? I don't have none of the Spurs attackers, but is it worth getting in someone like maybe Richarlison? Because as you said, Brandon Johnson is back, so we're not sure whether
Uh,
Kulusevski whether is going to play or going to get rotated. Or those who have Son and don't have a Spurs defender.
I feel like
uh,
Poro is a good pick. I
mhm,
don't have him. I do intend to get him at some point of time in the coming weeks. They have kept a really good amount of clean sheets, which I didn't expect given the kind of attack they go for. But they have a good goalkeeper at the back who helps them as well. So, Poro, given the areas that he picks, I think every match there's at least one opportunity where Poro can score, forget assist. So, it feels very close to no-brainer, but apart from that, I don't think anyone goes into that essential category. Maybe Sun does, right? Because he still is among the top five, I think, FPL assets this season. But apart from Sun, I won't put anyone into the essential category.
hmm. I feel right now is the best time to own Poro because we don't have Madison, so Poro will take a lot of the set pieces and the free kicks and all. And also he's sort of if you look at Spurs match, he's sort of playing like more and more forward, venture more and more forward position. And I think the ideal situation is you have Poro and you partner, so sort of combine him with one of Son or Richarlison or Kulu, which is what I'm doing right now. I think a lot of managers are doing it right now as well.
Interesting.
Mhm.
Okay, next one. Obviously, we did speak about Everton. Everton's defensive streak, 4 consecutive clean sheets, unique achievement this season. It's time to invest in their back line. So, if you're looking to get a defender, who would you go for? I think I would pick Branthwaite purely of the
Mhm.
price and how important he is for them. What do you guys think? Obviously, Mikolenko looked good, but unfortunately, as you said, right, he's out injured.
I'll wait for him to come back. They're anyways playing Spurs this week. They're playing City next week. Right? Though they can keep a clean sheet against City as well at home. But ideally, I feel like Michaelenko has a great ceiling. He gets into good positions, fairly similar to Poro, and he has a good delivery of the ball as well. Uh, that's the player I would like to get, and his price is still decent. There'll be few people selling him off. I think at least 0.1 million it will come down, right? So good time to get him once. Just see when he's coming back, and he's the guy I will wait. Other guy, in case you are one of those Sanchez Areola owners, maybe go for Pickford. Pickford is a great long-term pick. Okay. I started the season with him. At some point, I just moved out, but I think they have done great over the last 7 8 weeks. Right. So
Yep, nothing to add. I agree with that.
Okay, good. Next, Liverpool versus Arsenal. Considering we likely want at least one attacker, one defender from each team, how many should we start? I think start all. If it
Uh,
ends as a goalless draw, you'll be happy with the defensive points. If it goes as a goal scoring rampage, you'll be happy with the attackers' points. So, what do we do in this case?
I think Sankalp has 5 players from that. I think he told me about that. So maybe you should tell us how do you want to deal with
Yeah.
the 5 players.
I'm starting all five. Simple as that, right? Because it's Liverpool and Arsenal. They're the top two teams in the league, right? Anyone can score. Anyone can, keep a clean sheet. Both the teams have fairly less goals. It's very difficult to, guess out these things. I do expect it to be a tight scoring match. I don't expect a lot of points. That's what I was saying when we were talking about Nunes and Jesus, right? I don't expect a double digit haul from any of my attackers for sure. But whoever I have, I'll play them out. I'll hope for the best. I'll hope that the one return that comes to the person that I have. But no point in second guessing. I really hate benching, top players like Saka, Salah, Jesus, because they can score any match. They can score against any opposition, right? So why try to guess it? Why try to, take that risk for a bench guy and then you will be crying for the rest of the week, right? FPL hurts in a lot of ways. I have learned. So this is my no risk, no pain move. Just play them all.
Hmm. I did a stats research that when's the last time Arsenal actually managed to keep a clean sheet against Liverpool in the Premier League, regardless home or away, and it's actually way back to 2015. So I'm not
True.
sure if you saw the stats, but
I was
actually, yeah,
expecting like 2007 or 8.
yeah. It's, so that time their defenders are Bellerin, Monreal, Gabriel Paulista, and Chambers. They're starting back four. So that's the time that that defense actually kept a clean sheet against Liverpool.
Yeah. So
And yeah,
I think this is only the second time we are going to Anfield in last 6 7 years.
hmm
As a table topper.
hmm
So things have changed, right?
yeah,
I won't look down on a possibility of getting a clean sheet as well because I feel
hmm
like this is a really, really strong defensive team. We are one of the best defensive teams in Europe this season,
hmm
and that's the reality, right? So, if I have a defender, I'm going to play him. Obviously, the chances are less if you have someone very good in bench. Play him. For example, I have Kabore against Newcastle. I'm not playing him ahead of
hmm
Gabriel as well. I'm going to
yeah.
play Gabriel.
And everyone thought that Liverpool is going to score against Man United a lot last game, and they managed to keep a clean sheet. So if Man United can do it, then why not Arsenal, right?
But the playing style is fairly different, right? So
hmm
I feel like our
Hmm.
probability of keeping a clean sheet is lower than United as well. I didn't captain Salah last week because I knew United are going to sit back deep and going to control all the spaces, which Arsenal are not going to do. We'll have Zinchenko roaming around, keeping Salah, leaving Salah a free run, but we know that Gabriel is going to be on Salah, so it's not like there's going to be a huge thrashing as well. So. Uh, I think there's a good probability that they score, but I feel this is more of a 1-1, 2-1 kind of a game.
hmm
Can go either way, can go to any team. So I'm not guessing these things at least this week.
Yeah.
So, few things that I want to add is that Sankalp, don't worry. Even I have 5 players playing in this particular fixture. Okay, half it's like basically to say half your team is playing in this game. Uh, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah,
And another thing
captaincy
is
is
that
also
thank you for
important
pointing
here.
it out. Even I cross checked it. Mikolenko is back fit. Sean Dykes did say that it's a touch and go for Mikolenko.
Touch and
So
go is
fingers
fit.
crossed. It's a
Touch
touch
and
and
go
go. It's a touch and go in Sean Dykes language is unfortunately is fit to play. Not
I'm
unfortunately,
going to start
fortunately.
him.
So, whatever we said. Anyways, it's fine. The last two, I'm just going to run around with them quickly. Pawan Kudus, we did discuss this earlier, and even Solanki, we did discuss. So we're going to skip that, and I'll just give it to Leon. The last one, Trippier struggles. Is it worth keeping him amid Newcastle's shaky form?
Yeah, so we all know that Trippier had his worst months ever since he joined Newcastle, and he's now 34. and he's playing non-stop. He need to boom up and down the pitch, so it's only normal that he struggle a bit. But then he have that rest, as I mentioned earlier, the suspension, the 45 minutes in the cup. So I think he's okay for this game week. He'll want to come back strong. So I think if you have keep Trippier, just keep him for two more game weeks against Luton and against Forest. Then maybe you can think about selling him after that. But maybe during game week 20 as well, you might don't you might not want to sell him because maybe that time cash is no longer an issue. I mean, money is no longer an issue because you have to sell Son and Salah, so you have plenty of money in the bank. So why not just keep on keeping Trippier as well?
I have Trippier and Trent in my
Mhm.
team currently. For some reason, I have decided to overcorrect. I had a very weak defense in the start of the season. I overcorrected. Now I have Trent and Trippier. Uh, I feel like Newcastle are still a good defensive team. I feel like Trippier is still the best guy to get those bonus points if Newcastle keeps a clean sheet. Just keep playing them. Right? These are all long-term great players, and the best part is these players are playing week in week out as well, right? So I don't see any reason for me to think about selling. Might be one of those attractions, but even then, I would try to find some other way to fund that move.
Okay, so next, let's look at captaincy options, guys. Just maybe pick out the best three out of this lot. What do you think of these options that I've listed down? I mean, there's no preference, but I just put out a few names here.
Mm. Probably the obvious top three will be Watkins, Son, and Salah, like everyone mentioned. So yeah, so there's actually pros and cons in everything because Son is of course he's at home, but he's facing a very tough Everton defense. Salah is at home, he's facing a Arsenal defense that actually have top defensive stats, both home and away this season. So both Son and Salah actually facing very tough defense, even though they're at home. So naturally, people would want to captain Watkins, strong home form, uh, and they are now sort of outsiders that are have pushing for the title. I don't know whether they are real title contenders or not. And then people sort of assume that Sheffield United still have weak defense. So I think the only cons is that Watkins is not on penalties. Yeah, that's the only thing that is different between Son and Salah and Watkins. But I'll still go Watkins. I guess that's the safest options, and that's probably the most captain options as well. If you have Watkins this game week,
Will is there any differential asset you will look at for captaincy? If you have to
Darwin,
go, if you
Darwin,
have to go, Nunes, you'll captain
yeah.
Nunes.
I sort of have the captaincy on him until the cup game. Then I sort of saw him playing 90 minutes. Then I just switched the captaincy.
Aditya, do you have any differential captain for this week?
I'm at the moment on Watkins, boring, but yeah. Uh, I don't know. Pretty much, I'm looking at either. I mean, differential wise, Palmer and Solanke might be the two players I would look at. Maybe more or less Solanke I
Yeah,
would look
Solanke
at.
looks like a low, not that risky differential, right? Player to go for. He's a decent choice for this week, in fact. I think Callum Wilson is also a great choice.
Mhm.
At this, while Luton do have a strong tendency to score, they are also conceding at home, right? And if Wilson starts, I think he's the guy who gets those chances. He's the guy who's converts. So these are the two I feel pretty strong differential options for this week. Right. We have a few more questions. We'll take them before we close.
Yeah.
I think this is just one I think we did cover is Wilson. So as far as what Leong said, I think I'll just repeat. This week he's fairly nailed to play, right? He's nailed to play this week.
Yep, unless some weird things happen, like Gordon again magically recovered, which means that he'll take the left wing position, and Isaac also is fit to start, then it might be Isaac, Gordon, and Almiron's
Almiron.
front three. But then you have to have some sort of miracle for it to happen, or maybe Jolinton magically recovered. I'm not sure, but for now, I think he's sort of 90% secure for the start.
Anyhow, we don't know what he's
Mhm.
going to cook. So we don't know what's going to happen. Anyways, let's go to Sankalp's team.
Yeah,
And yeah,
yeah, more or less it's the same team. I think I've taken out Dokura, I've gotten Pereira from Fulham, right? Five players from the Liverpool Arsenal match, hoping for the best. That's all.
and since you have Trent, I will put this question out. Is Trent worth for a hit? Worth it for a hit.
Not this week, maybe next week.
Yeah. I mean, hits, I think at this particular spell, right, whatever we have, congestive fixtures, short turnaround, unless your player is injured long term, then I think taking hits is fine. But other than that,
I do
it's
feel.
tricky.
I mean, if Liverpool dominate the match, it's different thing. Maybe they will, but I do feel this is one of the matches where Arsenal midfield press will move Trent a bit away than the midfield areas that he seems to cover nowadays. So, in my feeling, it's a bit of a low ceiling Trent match. But if Liverpool say take a clean sheet, right, then that's a Trent 9 pointer there at the very minimum. Right? So not a great entry point, but a long term top player to have because he's on form and Liverpool are keeping the clean sheets.
Okay, next we have Leong's team.
Okay, so I made a transfer this game week, selling Adingra, and I brought Son in. So just now Sankat, I think Sankat mentioned who else don't own Son. So I'm one of those that don't own Son. So this game week, of course, I want him in. Um, so it doesn't affect the Asia Cup doesn't affect me because I still have the wild card, so I will cut him out before the something happens. So, uh, again, keeper Leno, back three. I'm forced to play Saliba, even though I would have played Shah again ahead of Saliba. But since Shah is not likely to start, then I will start with that back three of Boro, Saliba, and Colwill. Um, the only doubt that I have right now is between starting Martinelli or Gibbs White. So yeah, I'm actually counting on that new manager bounce, and how unfortunately Nuno has a rocky relationship with Gibbs White back to their time in Wolves, but he has actually sort of clarified that relationship in the press conference, saying that Gibbs White has grown up well, now he's more matured, something like that. So I think he would want to impress the new manager again, and at home Forest will sort of have a good chance to do something here. So right now I'm torn between starting Gibbs White or Martinelli. So yeah, that's my only doubt. I'm definitely starting Darwin, regardless whether he's starting or not. Even if he get limited minutes, maybe he can do something. He's unpredictable, so we won't know. Yeah, so that's my team for now.
Why are you not playing Gibson? He's starting, right?
Yeah, so yeah, it's because I have already seven sort of good attackers, so I have to take someone out to start. Just right.
Okay.
So and the only
It's tough. It's tough.
yeah, the only player that I will consider right now is Martinelli, I guess.
Yeah. The reason I say Gibson is he's sure shot to play 70, 80
Mm-hmm.
minutes, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would maybe even start him ahead of Martinelli.
Yeah.
Okay, last not the least is my team, and pretty much I would, as I say every week, it's more or less the boring template kind of team. Now I have not made any transfers. I'm probably I might end up rolling my transfer. But I have two concerns. One is Maguire. He's probably out until mid Jan or so, is what I think. So I need to replace him. That's one. And another thing is Luis Diaz. My punt has gone miserably bad. It's not worked well at all. Bearing to the offside goal he scored against, I think it was Palace. So I don't know what to do. Basically, I if I'm forced or if I end up doing, I might do Luis Diaz to Richarlison is one, or I might ship out Maguire for some another defender, maybe someone like Carlos or Konza. Is I mean, is what I'm looking at the moment.
So if you sell Maguire for, let's say, Konsa, who will you sub him for? Gabriel, Simicas, one of
Yeah,
those.
maybe one of them. Yeah, because I have five players in one fixture, and it's too much of chips at stake for a single game. So
Hmm.
that's my only thing. But I'm looking at Diaz to Richarlison as well. I mean, Maguire I've got him for 4.3. Sorry, I think I don't know what's Maguire price at the moment. I think it's 4.3 or 4.4. It's 4.3. So I got Maguire for 4.2, I guess.
Hmm.
So even if it drops point 0.1, it's not going to
How
affect me.
long
So
is
I
he
could,
out, Maguire? How much more time
I
will it
think
take?
I see him back somewhere maybe mid Jan.
Hmm.
He's out for at least another 2 3 weeks. 3 weeks I think is out. I'm not sure. We've not got 10 ups proper confirmation, but that's what we're estimating at the moment.
Yeah. I really like the Maguire to Konsa move, but they have Man United away in the next game week. So not sure if you want to start him against Man United again.
Just to have a complete defense. It's
Hmm.
like I can play Mahales next week and from bench Concha. It's fine, but
Hmm.
you need to have proper playing defenses. I mean, playing players this year is what
Yeah.
we've learned so far.
Yeah, yeah.
Just for that,
Perfect. We have a
and
couple of more questions. Maybe we'll touch upon that.
Hmm.
Should I sell
hmm,
Mitoma for Iwobi? I don't think it's that bad a question, at least this year, right? Mitoma has not done anything. They can do well, Brighton, and I think there's no Europa matches for some time, right? For 1 month now. That helps Brighton. Uh, but at the same time, I'm not as convinced about Iwobi because most of his points have come from I think a couple of matches. He has one 15 pointer, one 9 pointer, and it's less of that. So I like I had a similar thing to do, and I in that price bracket I went for Pereira. I like the other players more. I think Harry Wilson, Willian, but with Iwobi you get minutes, right? That's the security you go for.
Yeah, I'm different because I rate it will be above all three of them. So I think this is a good move. And Iwobi is sort of a change player completely. When if you watch him in Fulham, he sort of everything goes through him. So I
Yeah,
think he's
he's
used
a good
differently.
player. He's a good
Hmm.
player. I think what we are looking as is from a FPL point of view, right?
Hmm.
Does he give you consistent points, or does he
Yeah.
give you that many points? I'm not
Hmm.
sure. He'll have good days and bad. From
Hmm.
a FPL returns point of view, that's where I'm not as confident about him
Hmm.
because if we have looked at his returns as well, I think he has a lot of blanks and some returns
Hmm.
compared to other assets, other Fulham assets who are more consistent in the kind of returns they give, even if it's lower ceiling.
Yeah, but he has 3 goals and 1 assist in the last five. So I think that's quite good, but not sure if sustainable because he hasn't sustained that throughout his career, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Next question.
okay, it's not a question. It's more or less Captain John McGinn for the hat trick is about to score. I mean, what does he do? I don't know. What is
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't do it.
Interesting punt, right? It's like the puntest of punt, but I do feel that if you're going Villa and you are choosing the second best Villa player for this week, it can be McGinn because he'll play in that number 10 position without Kamara. A lot of work will be done by McGinn, and he if and they are going to spend a lot of the time in the opposition half, right? So okay punt. It's a very risky punt, but go for it. I mean, I've seen someone do McGinn captaincy before, and he scored that week. Right, so good player. He scored against us as well.
Yeah.
But have fun. I mean, go with the expectations that it can go either way, right?
Yeah, I think it'll be a good punt because this season McGinn is a different McGinn. He plays in the wing because they have Douglas Luiz and Kamara in the anchor. So he sort of get a lot of chances and he has a lot of attacking returns as well. But between Douglas Luiz and McGinn, I would still go Douglas Luiz. I think basically due to the set pieces and the
Convenient.
penalties.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, we have one final question here so far. One free transfer should I do? Gordon to Palmer or sell Pau Torres? So how long is basically Pau Torres out for? He just got a confirmation that he's out for this week. I think is what he said.
Yeah.
He's not ready for this week.
Yeah.
I think he plays in the next 1 or 2 weeks, right? How long is Gordon out for, Leong? Similar?
No idea.
No idea,
He
right?
might even play this game. No one knows, right?
Yeah, but I just feel that midfielder move gives you a higher ceiling, right? Defender, there are not a lot of great matches this week for you to get clean sheets. That's the reason I would perhaps move out of Gordon and go to a Palmer even.
Hmm. Yeah, based on fixtures, I think Gordon to Palmer is a great move.
Yeah, Gordon to Palmer is one, or you could do Gordon to I think Andreas Pereira or Iwobi is what we spoke a lot. I don't know how much is Leon Bailey. I don't know if it's possible if you want to take a wide punt. I mean, sort of. I mean,
This week,
He's five point
he's-
six.
yeah,
Bailey is 5.6.
yeah, yeah.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
it's up to you if you want to play aggressive.
So,
Okay.
lot of new people who came in into the chat. I hope you do put in a like button or subscribe to us. It really helps. At least YouTube algorithm starts giving out more and more suggestions of our podcast to others. Right. So, and do share your feedback as well.
Yeah. So we are exactly 1 hour away from the deadline, and still
Less
no.
than an hour away. I think we're 58 minutes away.
Yeah, 15
Obviously, we're not
minutes.
going to. And
Mm-hmm.
we have, let's see, I don't know how this week is going to go. I think, with that being said, I think we're done for this deadline stream unless you guys have any closing words before we wrap it up.
There was one very, very tough question from SJ. What's your current FPL rank, guys?
I think that's the best question you got it up. When we're winding up, it's the best time to answer such
Yeah,
questions. And to say, we can just say, we will see you for game week 19 and go rather than answering that.
there's no way I'm answering that.
Yeah, we're keeping our cards close. The ranks basically got cards now. Okay, so with that being said, we're done with game week 18 stream, whatever you want to call preview deadline. Game week 19 deadline. Okay, we're on. 19 is on Tuesday, I think. Tuesday deadline. We have very
What time
short,
and again?
short, and then we have game week 20 again on I think the Saturday or Friday. I don't exactly
Hopefully,
know, but
Leong
it's
and me, we can join in for a deadline day stream. It was good fun today. Right,
Mm-hmm.
but best wishes to everyone. I hope your arrows are green.
yeah. Hope you have a good game week 19. Enjoy this season. Christmas greetings to all, and obviously have a great time with your loved ones and have a fantastic game week 18.